Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to Bluegrass Home and Garden TV. With us once again is Art Hubbard of Hubbard Mechanical, giving us some grilling ideas, but inside because the weather did not cooperate with us. We went from a 5% chance of rain to like 100% by the time we got here. So
Yep.
We're making it work.
Adapt and overcome.
That's right.
100%.
All right, so it looks like we're going to have breakfast this morning.
We kind of are. We're going to have grilled French toast.
Okay.
So, I mean, you don't have to use this recipe for your French toast. Whatever, if you have your favorite recipe, you can do that. This one, it's got some half and half. You can use milk if you don't want that, sugar, vanilla extract, and eggs, and just kind of make your own mix up and put it in there. And pretty similar to the way you would do your normal French toast, but on a grill. Well,
and one of the things I was telling him, you know, because this is September, a lot of people are starting to do a little bit more camping as it starts to cool down a little bit in the evenings, especially. So,
this would be phenomenal, especially if you have the stone type griddle things that people grill on that might have the color black. You never know. But those things are phenomenal for breakfast. We do that. We have one of those. We have one dedicated for camping, and we have one dedicated here at the house. And we will do breakfast all the time outside of that thing.
Well, and you know, there's a lot of people who tailgate really early for certain games. So this is a great way to maybe take advantage of that as well.
Bread is known to soak up some alcohol too, so it might be really good to do before the tailgating.
All right, we'll be back here in just a few. Stay tuned.
Hi, Richard Weber here at Springhouse Gardens. We're in the middle of summer, and it's a great time to talk about pollinator plants and native and other great plants here for Central Kentucky. We are known for our native plant selection, as well as just being a treasure trove of wonderful garden plants here in Central Kentucky. But today I wanted to explain a little bit to you about a very favorite native plant called Monarda, or bee balm. And you might think about this a little bit more in the early to late spring, because the typical native species bloom starting in probably May and go up until the middle of June and sometimes into July. And if you just want to plant the native one, you're going to see things like this happen, where you're going to get lots of mildew. The plants are going to be very aggressive and spread a whole lot in your garden, and you will more than likely lose all your lower foliage. So this is very typical on the bee balm that naturally grows in the eastern United States. So what we've seen over the past 15 or 20 years are a lot of the plant breeders trying to create and find varieties that don't lose their leaves, that don't spread as aggressively, and that also are mildew resistant. So over the past few years, there have been a number of series of Monardas that have been introduced. And one of the first ones that people were very interested in were the Pardon series. So this is Pardon My Pink. These were designed for really, or bred for really compact foliage, really nice looking flowers, and just a more controlled growth. They were touted to be mildew resistant, and maybe they are a little bit more mildew resistant, but you can see from these that they're still getting mildew, they're still dropping foliage. So you still might have some of the problems that you get with bee balm in this kind of humid climate that we have, but they still are really nice for a variety of colors. The bees love them, the pollinators love them. Pollinators don't care if they're native or not. They just love the flowers. But just this year, or maybe late last year, there's been a whole series of even more improved varieties of bee balm. And this is called the Leading Lady series. And they're coming out with all kinds of really beautiful foliage, more compact plants. This one's a little bit closer to the kind of the native habit, where you get a little bit of height, the flowers raised above the foliage, but they all have wonderfully scented foliage and really pretty flowers. So we've got them in a number of different colors. I mean, we've got Leading Lady Raspberry, and I can't remember all these different names. Leading Lady Amethyst. This one is Leading Lady Orchid. So if you're looking for something for your native plant garden or just a great pollinator garden, you might think about these. And just because they're blooming here in our garden center in like August into September, doesn't mean this is when they'll bloom next year for you. Typically, these are going to have the same bloom season through the month of May and into June, but this is a later crop that our growers have brought in. So you might want to ask and check and say, are these really going to bloom next August and September? because a lot of times they might not. It just depends on when the crop was grown. So these were grown for late summer sales, but you put them in now, they'll bloom at their regular time next year in May or June. But until then, the pollinators and the bees and the butterflies are going to love them. So if you have any questions, give us a call at Springhouse Gardens at 859-224-1417. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Till next time.
Past 2 hours.
Watch WKYT News live and on demand, totally free with no subscription. Local news, first alert weather, and original investigations. Stream WKYT for free now. We've all seen it. A social media post or video where your first thought is that true? Unfortunately, misinformation comes in many forms, but there are tools to help you spot those red flags. That's why WKYT and our corporate company, Gray Television Group, are teaming up with MediaWise, a literary initiative for the nonprofit Pointer Institute. Learn how to navigate through the social media noise and identify factual information. Scan the QR code now to find out more and sign up for daily text messages to become MediaWise. At home or on the go, stay informed with the WKYT News app. A must-have with push alerts for breaking news and weather. Plus, watch WKYT News live wherever you are. Download the WKYT News app today.
Breaking weather and traffic doesn't have to take you by surprise.
With first alert weather alerts and traffic alerts in the morning, we'll get you where you need to go on time.
When you watch WKYT News in the mornings, you know first. We keep this from happening to you.
WKYT, the station to watch the most weather and traffic updates all morning long.
Sometimes you just don't know what might come out of his mouth. That's all I gotta say.
I usually am pretty good, usually. But hey, it's factual. I'm not condoning or condemning.
He's looking out for you all.
I am.
That is not where I was trying to take that conversation, and Art just took it there. And his significant other, his lovely bride, is over off camera, and she's about ready to crack one of these eggs on his head. Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say.
It's actually been kind of a trend on social media too, so I'm glad she's sitting over there off camera because she probably would have. But 6 eggs, and just kind of go in there.
And these eggs are actually from your backyard.
Yeah, we're blessed to have a bunch of chickens, and they poop us breakfast every morning.
Oh my goodness.
I absolutely love it. See, you never know. You never know. Then you do a 1/4 cup of sugar. Then you get all that, you whisk it all together. Then once it's together, you put the half and half and the vanilla extract, whisk it together, and then just soak your bread like you normally would for most French toast. So.
And I've always found too that the older the bread is,
yes,
the better.
100%, because it's more firm, and so it actually holds up better on that. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you get whisking away.
All right. I'm gonna whisk this stuff away.
All right. Stay tuned, y'all.
I'm going to try to get my foyer fixed today before the madness hits for me. And so I'm going to turn this twigs and branches. So you're like, well, what in the world is this? So this is in the foyer, and this is a vase that always has these branches in it because I cut these out of the yard. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to take this and turn it into this beautiful, lush Christmas masterpiece using all these flowers and things that I got from the store and some new things that come in this year. A lot of them, it's been evolved over the years. So I always start with magnolia, and this is a new one that we've got in. I think we started selling it last year, but I love how long this is and this stem is. But because this arrangement's so huge, I don't even have to cut anything on these. So this is my starting point. This is my greenery for my vase. And I think you're going to be surprised how quickly this starts taking shape because it's just these poor little Charlie Brown sticks. But then when I start sticking it in this greenery, it instantly starts becoming something. I'm going to add one more magnolia. I'll bend this one pretty sharp. Look like it's falling out. So my next layer is this cedar. I ain't taking the tag off for it. This is some new I got this year that we sell at the store, which is absolutely beautiful. Look how that falls. So I'm going to take my stem and bend it pretty sharply, poke him down in there. Look how that kind of split. Now I'm purposely like, well, that looks like it's sticking out the tube. I'm telling you, when I get this so big that if I don't have it stick out there, that it'll look like it's all shoved in. So let's do another one. And let's put him toward the front. Hang out like that. Okay, I'll get me some pine here. And I'm going to keep on adding these evergreens. Let me show you this last one. There's another greenery. And keep putting these greens in there, and we'll come back. I'll have some more of the greens in there, and that's our base, and then I'll start putting in the flowers and stuff. So come back, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
We've all seen it. A social media post or video where your first thought is that true? Unfortunately, misinformation comes in many forms, but there are tools to help you spot those red flags. That's why WKYT and our corporate company, Gray Television Group, are teaming up with MediaWise, a literary initiative for the nonprofit Pointer Institute. Learn how to navigate through the social media noise and identify factual information. Scan the QR code now to find out more and sign up for daily text messages to become MediaWise.
Breaking weather and traffic doesn't have to take you by surprise.
With First Alert weather alerts and traffic alerts in the morning, we'll get you where you need to go on time.
When you watch WKYT News in the mornings, you know first. We keep this from happening to you.
WKYT, the station to watch the most weather and traffic updates all morning long.
At home or on the go, stay informed with the WKYT News app. A must-have with push alerts for breaking news and weather. Plus, watch WKYT News live wherever you are. Download the WKYT News app today.
Past 2 hours.
Watch WKYT News live and on demand, totally free with no subscription. Local news, first alert weather, and original investigations. Stream WKYT for free now.
You all.
Sorry.
I can't unhear what he said just earlier.
Yeah.
Now every time my kids make reference about eggs, I'm going to think about that. So thank you for that.
I am a plumber.
Yes.
Kind of always on top of my mind.
Yes. All right, so let's just change that topic. What are we doing now?
Soaking the bread. Depending on how, sometimes you can soak it for 5 minutes, get it completely saturated. If you want to have more like a crispness to it, sometimes I will just kind of get it in there, flip it both sides, then put it on the grill or the griddle, whatever else, and it will just kind of go there and you can cook it slow. The grill's kind of harder to do because it will go through the grates and stuff. This one's going to be a little easier because it's not a real grill. But when I have it on a flat surface or a pan or whatever else, I like to press it. A lot of guys girls like their fluffy French toast. I like mine kind of flat, where it's kind of dense, and you can put 3 or 4 pieces, and it looks like you're eating 2, so you kind of sneak in a little extra food without people thinking you're eating a lot. So that's kind of a little trick that I learned. So, but yeah.
Diet 101 tips from Art Hubbard with Hubbard Mechanical, ladies and gentlemen. If you're trying to lose weight, I would not follow that.
No, I'm a big guy though.
All right, so we'll be back here in just a few. And yeah, I'll just try to keep you
Good luck.
under control. Stay tuned.
Hi, Richard Weber here from the middle of Springhouse Gardens here in Nicholasville, Kentucky. And we're continuing to talk about some great native perennials that are wonderfully suited for Kentucky gardens. And we are very fortunate to have so many plants that kind of grew up in the eastern part of the United States. And a lot of these things that you're probably familiar with, don't realize that maybe they are native to Kentucky, but garden phloxes of different kinds and Indian pink or spigelia. These are some of our favorites here at Springhouse Gardens because we try to bring to the area the best of the natives and the best of other landscape plants as well. And sometimes the best plants are ones that are derived from native populations as well. So the perennial plant of the year this year is derived from the regular old black-eyed Susan that was growing up on the roadside and was growing in the buffalo pastures and things hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So this is actually an improvement to the old-fashioned black-eyed Susan that many of you grew up with. This one is one called American Gold Rush. And as you can see from the, it's a great floral display, but the flowers are smaller, they're a little more sturdy. It's a more compact plant. So for today's smaller gardens, a lot of my clients, when I would mention planting black-eyed Susans, they're saying, oh, they're a little bit too aggressive, too vigorous for my small garden. So you might be ready for something like the American Gold Rush black-eyed Susan. She's going to grow maybe just up to about 24 to 28 inches. So it's going to stay a little bit smaller than the typical Goldstrom variety or some of the other seedling varieties of black-eyed Susans. But it's going to stay nice and compact. It's not going to spread quite as vigorously, and it's still going to attract all the pollinators and the goldfinches and the other birds that love to peck on the seeds through the winter. So if you don't want it to self-seed, it's best to cut most of those flowers off and just leave a few for the goldfinches through the winter, or you can just let it go completely natural and they'll naturalize in your garden as well. So if you have questions about any of these perennials or the other great trees and shrubs that we sell for our area, please come out here and visit us at Springhouse Gardens. We're 185 West Catnip Hill Road in Nicholasville. You can follow us online at Instagram or Facebook. You can email us at greatplants@springhousegardens.com. Until next time.
Okay, we're back, and I'd started making an arrangement in the foyer, and I'd started with a magnolia, and the last thing I left you with was I was putting some greenery picks in there, and I talked about my cedar. So this is my last layer, is this white pine that is just kind of a staple at the store. So I always go back to, if you want to do any Christmas arrangements for us, it's white pine, cedar, and magnolia. But this, absolutely, I'm going to lift this up. I shaped it a little bit, poked him in there, I say that, and look how beautiful that is. So now we're going to move on to the next layer, and for me, I always want to make it feel like you went out to your yard, even though this is huge, but this is artificial holly, and look how big and gorgeous this is. I want you to feel like you went into your yard and were able to clip things. So these greenery, magnolia, and things are always southern. So look at this. I'm going to just go right in the middle, poke him in there. I got me another very large stem, and I'm going to add that to this. And so really what I'm trying to get across is, even though I'm using artificial things, I want to make it look as if it's real. And then after I can't finish putting this holly in, I've got some more. This is a top of eucalyptus. This is a top of greenery. I'll start adding all this, and we'll come back and we'll do the last follow-up to show you what the end result is. So see you in a little bit.
Breaking weather and traffic doesn't have to take you by surprise.
With first alert weather alerts and traffic alerts in the morning, we'll get you where you need to go on time.
We keep this from happening to you.
WKYT, the most weather and traffic updates all morning long.
We've all seen it. A social media post or video where your first thought is that true? Unfortunately, misinformation comes in many forms, but there are tools to help you spot those red flags. That's why WKYT and our corporate company, Gray Television Group, are teaming up with MediaWise, a literary initiative for the nonprofit Pointer Institute. Learn how to navigate through the social media noise and identify factual information. Scan the QR code now to find out more and sign up for daily text messages to become MediaWise.
Past 2 hours.
Watch WKYT News live and on demand, totally free with no subscription. Local news, first alert weather, and original investigations. Stream WKYT for free now. Everyday Kentucky, weekdays at 9 a.m. on WKYT.
Welcome back. I don't know what he had earlier today for breakfast, but I'm assuming he had a little something in it because he's in rare form today, y'all.
It's my special coffee.
I'm just glad his wife is over here getting.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a saint. She really is.
She is I don't know if she's entertained or she's just.
I think at this point, like I said, 24 years, she just kind of shakes her head, man.
Yeah, that's art.
I tried.
Art. We're trying to get him to come up with a book.
Yes.
Or at least some sort of code of artisms because of all the random stuff he says. Sometimes does not make it on air, but
For good reason.
we're like, oh, that's art. That's
Yep.
art. All right, so back to the food.
Yep. Just get it, flip it, lift it up, and then just put it in there.
Oh, that sound.
This bread is not old bread, so we're not going to let it sit in there too long.
You learned the hard way. When the camera wasn't rolling.
Yeah, I'm a good learner. All right, we close it down,
Okay.
and now we wait. And we flip it, and then we enjoy it.
All right, well, we'll be back here in just a few.
Okay, so this is a seeded eucalyptus, which normally you wouldn't think you use something you would throw into in a Christmas arrangement. But I love the color of this, and I love how it flows, and it's got that funny little blue-green color. I think you'll be surprised how I really, again, these arrangements, when you have different tones of color, change it. And look at this. I think this is just one of the prettiest pieces that we have at the store, really. I use this year-round. So it's one of those things that this is probably not the cheapest stem that we sell, but it's one of those investment pieces that if you buy this, you really can use it in every arrangement throughout the whole year. But look how beautiful that is. Let's add one more piece, and I'll come back and finish it up. But for our purposes, I wanted to show you what that does. And then I think this is something, now this is something I've had for a very long time. Isn't that beautiful? So if you add that greenery to it, look at that frosted piece to it. And then our last layer, as you see, that I've got some poinsettias already started, and I'm going to keep adding to that. But look at this. I think we're on our way to Christmas masterpiece. I hope this inspires. I know we're all getting ready for the holidays, but this is a huge version of it. Take this concept of magnolia, white pine, cedar, the Holy Trinity, some beautiful silk poinsettias, and I think we're on our way. Thanks, guys.
Hi, Richard Weber here at Springhouse Gardens, and we've got a lot of color going on here in the summer. Summer is the time for perennials. These are plants that are going to come back year after year after year, and in parentheses, let's say hopefully, because not all perennials live for as long in the garden as you might like. But what is nice is that they should at least seed themselves in and come back year after year if the actual plant doesn't. So depending upon what perennials you're choosing, this could be even more so the case. And that's what coneflowers are like. Coneflowers are a Native American plant, and this is pretty much the typical coneflower that you might have seen on your walks in, wild areas and things. They're called purple coneflowers, but they tend to be a little bit on the pink side, and they're usually going to be between 2 and 3 foot tall. Some of them get about 4 to 5 feet tall, and the typical natural coneflower kind of looks like these, and there are some white ones that occur naturally. There are some yellow ones of different species that do come up on their own and have been growing for thousands of years. Well, again, there's a lot of people interested in creating the best plants and the most interesting plants. So there's a lot of breeding that's been happening, and you can see from this table just a fraction of the varieties of coneflowers that are available now. Now we're doing a little testing in another garden area just to see how many of these are going to come back and be hardy, because there is a lot of hardiness factors on these, and I think naturally coneflowers want to have a little bit of shade, and they naturally want to seed because that actual plant may not come back. So you see something like this where it's got tons of flowers but not a whole lot of foliage. So when this all dies back, it's going to throw a lot of seeds out, but this plant may not actually be the one that comes up and blooms again next year. So you want to keep that in mind when you're buying some of these really, as a lot of times more expensive varieties and things, because they may not come true from the plant that you actually purchased. So that's one of the things that we're trying to figure out here by planting a lot of these different ones and seeing which ones are truly good for our area. The other thing that's kind of interesting, and there have been some studies on this, and you might Google pollinators on coneflowers. But just coming and walking through our garden center, you can kind of watch and see which of these different flower types and colors attract the most bees and butterflies and other pollinators. As a general rule, the ones that are these double flowers, although right when I said they're not usually as attractive, there's a butterfly that just flew right onto it. Typically, the double flowered ones don't attract as many pollinators, and the regular coneflower types do. But we just proved that wrong right there in the 2 seconds we were looking at it. But if you have questions about these, mid to late summer is a great time to come by your local garden center, come out here, see what's available, and enjoy them for some late summer color. These typically are going to start blooming in June and go all the way through June, July, and into August. So, but these are coneflowers. Echinacea or coneflower is the common name. So if you have questions, come out and see us here at Springhouse Gardens at 185 West Catnip Hill Road in Nicholasville, Kentucky. Until next time.
All right, it's almost time.
Time to get them all.
Nice.
Now, these will be a little crispier than what you're normally used to with your French toast, just because it was on the grill and little different heat sources like that. So it's, but man, it smells good.
It does smell good.
All right. And then I like maple syrup. You can use whatever syrup. You can use jams. You can use preserves, whatever you want. And I kind of just put a little bit. You like syrup?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes. I like a little powdered sugar too, but if I'm doing this outside camping, tailgating, I'm not bringing my little sifter to get the stuff all perfect.
And then what you can also do if you want is you can cinnamon. So I don't know if you want cinnamon or.
Sure, why not?
All right. We'll put some on some. That way if you don't like it on that side, you can have the rest. How about that? All right.
All right.
And now we get to see if it's in the count or not. It should be just like anything else, but with a little bit of a grill flair to it. So it will hopefully turn out pretty good.
I'll try not to get too big of a bite here.
Yeah.
Don't you say anything.
I'm not saying a word. Yeah, it's like I said, it just puts a different flair on, some of the other stuff. It's what I learned. Anything you can do inside, you can do outside. You just got to adapt a little bit how you're doing it. You got to be more cautious. You got to watch it more. You just watch what you're doing with it, and
Watch what you're doing.
not saying, but doing. And I do watch what I say.
Yeah, it's good. It's just a little bit crispier around the edges from the grilling aspect, but I like it.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So you just cut the center of it out and leave the crust. And if you got any critters, you can feed your animals.
All right, well, hopefully we're going to have you back and actually do a little bit more tailgating stuff. So,
Oh, I hope so.
yeah, so since the weather didn't cooperate with us today. But again, stay tuned, and we will see you next time.